Hey there, it's Joel, bringing you some more railroad stuff. Wanted to get out some of the videos that I had back from September when I attended the N-Scale weekend in Altoona, PA. And so we're going to start by looking at some N-Trak modules. These were from several clubs, including the Penn N-Scalers N-Trak and Baltimore area N-Trak. I believe there were a couple other clubs involved as well, but I didn't get all of the contact info. N-Trak modules are essentially tables that C-clamp together to form a large N-scale train layout, and then you see them at conventions, maybe displayed at malls, at club rooms, club buildings, or even as a home layout. They have three tracks kind of run along the front of the modules. The modules themselves are typically 2 feet wide by 4 feet long. And you'll see some of the modules have 4 tracks instead. So I believe there's a number of different standards that govern how different modules can be laid out. And some modules you can see, like this one here, they'll have some switches, they'll have some other track in the background, but the 3 common tracks will run across all of the modules. One downside to that is, if you're trying to build a home layout using N-Trak modules, typically it starts to look like you've got your scenery in the background and just trains running past the front, where I would prefer, having the trains running through towns and running through your scenery. But depending, if you're building all the modules, I suppose you could make that work, but still have the flexibility to move some things around or to take a module or two to a club or show or something. And you'll see, this is obviously several modules put together. They worked in a large yard. And here's one that's got some other track kind of worked into it, really packed in with some trolleys going on there. And here's an example where you have a 3-track module meeting a 4-track module. So if you're setting up for a show, not all the modules are going to blend together very well. It might get a little awkward, but this is the horseshoe curve in Altoona, PA. I thought it was pretty impressive the way they worked that in. And it's also good use of the photo backdrop. You can really tell where you're at. It looks exactly like like the scene that they're trying to model. I know that one's been there at least a few years in a row. This module here's got a figure 8 DC loop going on in the background, and so you have things that don't necessarily attach to the rest of the modules, kind of a self-standing layout with 3 tracks passing along the front, just so it can be connected up. I also found this little trolley running through town. It'd be pretty neat. One of the areas, some of the towns in the area that I'm going to be modeling, had trolleys running through them, namely the Katanning and Leechburg Railway. And so I was hoping to work that into my towns as well. It's a little hard to figure out how to incorporate that with the rest of the layout, so it'll probably just be something like this. It's a good idea. Just a little auto-reversing track that's separate from everything else. I don't have to convert my trolley to DCC or anything. I just put a little DC. If my layout's deep enough, I could put a loop or an end-to-end with an auto-reverser. Some of the scenery on some of these corner modules, I think, is pretty neat. They get a little deeper, and pretty neat to see what some of the guys can do with these small little modules. But overall, I found that looking at the modular layouts gives you a good idea for how much fits on a 2 feet deep table. And as I'm going to be modeling and my layout's going to be a shelf layout, probably about 18 inches deep in most places, maybe a little deeper in others. This gives me an idea about just about how much scenery I'm going to be able to get on that shelf. So I'm going to have to be creative in showing the size of a town, or make it look like there's actually more to it than just a very narrow little swath of land. And some modules do a great job of that. Some modules, maybe not so much. Not intending to be critical here, but just looking through these modules and the work people put into it gives me an idea of, like, can I show that on my layout? Will it extend into the background? Do I have tracks that run off the front? Some of these modules that you'll see, dead tracks that just run off the front or run off the back, a tunnel to nowhere, a bridge to nothing. You can do that kind of thing on your layout. Not everything has to be operational or functional. If it makes the scene work, it makes the scene work. So that's I get some ideas of what to do, what not to do. Yeah, hope you enjoyed seeing these N-Trak modules. I've got a couple more videos coming, and I'll see you soon.